So I'm sitting here trying to create a CV, which I've recently learned is not the same thing as a resume. Um, but as I'm sitting here and working on stuff, I kind of want to talk about just this whole thing. Like as I am writing my experience in detail and my skills and my education and my volunteer experience and my certifications and yada yada yada. It's just like all of this, well, I'm doing this for a letter of recommendation, but all of this to get a job. Um and I specifically wanted to talk about the translation field or industry because that is what I've wanted to pursue for a really long time. When I was getting into that, something that I had to consider, is that AI is a threat. I mean, it's a threat to everybody in some way, shape, or form, even though some people don't believe so. But I mean, a lot of big companies are now prioritizing AI. It's kind of scary. And even even so for me, as someone who wants to translate, which is not the conversation thing, that's interpretation, but translating text and documents or doing transcriptions and whatever like that. That's what I want to do. I want to do subtitles specifically, and I've considered legal translation as well, even though I would really have to know all of that vocabulary. But I wanted to do subtitles as someone who uses subtitles. And if you have Netflix or some other streaming platforms, but Netflix is the best one. If you have Netflix, you may or may not know how many fucking options there are for audio and subtitles. I mean, you could have Polish audio and fucking Italian subtitles. It's like insane. But it's awesome because it allows more people to watch their shows, and that's why they do it. And also, when I do have Spanish subtitles on or French subtitles or Russian or whatever I'm focusing on in the moment, I'm always sitting there and comparing what I'm reading to what I'm hearing, no matter what type of audio I have on, what type of subtitles I have on. I just find subtitles to be fascinating and I want to do subtitling. I feel like I'd have fun with that. There are companies that would rather use AI for subtitles, even if it's in English, instead of an actual person doing it because it's not as expensive. You don't have to really pay anybody unless you're paying for the AI itself. And it's quicker, but the thing is, it's not always accurate. It's like when I'm online and I'm on Instagram and I'm this is something that pisses me off so bad. The people who make videos, they just turn on the AI subtitle thing and pick a fucking font and a color and shit, and they don't even review it. Because as someone who has edited before and has used softwares and stuff, you can edit those subtitles. You It's not just whatever it puts on there, it's final. You can go in there and edit the subtitles if it's incorrect. Because the thing with AI, it can't transcribe the best. I know this from using speech to text. And even with this new app that I'm using and trying out for language learning and stuff, when I speak even clearly, it literally puts in the target language incorrectly sometimes, and then the AI thinks I'm saying something else when that's not even what I meant. It's definitely not perfect, but I'm just people would rather use that, instead of doing it themselves, but they won't even edit it. I've seen that with I don't know if I've really seen it with a streaming platform, but Tubi, when I was watching a bunch of 90s and 80s movies on Tubi. I was doing it for 2 months. Don't ask why. I started on Labor Day. It lasted it lasted until the end of November, or no, the beginning of November. I don't know if they use AI, but literally I've noticed that the subtitles are wrong. I don't know if that's someone hearing it incorrectly or if that's them using AI and just saying fuck it. Oh, well, this is good enough. And even I wanted to, because I love anime, and hopefully one day maybe I could translate Japanese because Japanese is a language that I really like learning and I want to be conversational in. I want to go to Japan one day. I wanted to try translating, even if it wasn't for Japanese, they do Spanish too. Um, Try doing subtitles for Funimation specifically, because I mean I never really use Crunchyroll. I've used it a couple times, but I was more of a Funimation user, but now Funimation is basically Crunchyroll. So I wanted to do subtitles for them, but as I've heard in recent months, Crunchyroll, I'm pretty sure, has prioritized AI with their subtitles. Yeah, so they have started using AI for their subtitles, and even seeing like this Reddit post, apparently they said they need to be human checked because that's what I was talking about. Like the AI is not always correct. But companies will still use it. They'll still use it no matter what because it's faster and they don't have to pay anybody. So in that sense, it's like, damn, my job is kind of in jeopardy. And it's crazy because from the actual translators or specialists who have spoken in some of my courses about what they do and stuff, and I take all that stuff into account because I really want to do this. You know, they do talk about AI and they do talk about working with AI. Even one of my professors told me that even though she knows that I really don't want to work with AI or, you know, how I feel about it, it's like if you know how to work with it, employers will like that. And I've kept that in mind. Experts will say, like, you know, you kind of have to work with it now, or it's not at a point where it can really take your job. But then I see people on Reddit say that the translation industry is kind of dying because of AI. It's not like what it used to be. So it's like I hear one thing and then I see another thing and I'm like, well, what is it? And you might be thinking like, well, what does it look like with job postings? I've looked. I mean, a lot. Even at the same job postings over and over, that's how much I've looked. And you see a lot of AI stuff now. Like not everything, but you definitely see like a lot of is a data annotator or AI annotator, or you're basically an AI trainer, and they want people who have a degree in linguistics or are native speakers or proficient speakers in a target language so they can train the AI. And I mean, it's not just stuff like Spanish and French and Japanese, it's like Tagalog or Urdu. Or like some languages you probably never even fucking heard of, which there's one called Chukis, which I know someone who actually does medical interpreting for that. I had never heard of that language until he brought it up, and I was like, what is Chukis? They need that for AI. But then I see some jobs like that don't even mention AI. They're not really focused on AI. They want an actual person. But it's like, I don't even know. Um, Even trying to find experience for these things is kind of difficult because there's not a lot of like I've tried looking, unless I'm not looking in the right places. I've looked as many places as I possibly can. As someone who graduated with like one of their majors is linguistics, internships are not very common from what I've seen. And I could be wrong. Someone can correct me. But I mean, even my own university, I saw like one paid, like, I guess it was an internship, but like something related to that field. I only saw it once and I didn't get it because I didn't know any coding and it was like a computational linguistic thing. Finding a translation internship is kind of hard. And even the ones I've found, it's on site in another state or they have like certain requirements that I don't meet and I don't really have much translation experience. All I have is what I've learned and done in my Spanish translation class, which does not count as a professional portfolio. I'm doing the best that I can. And it's also made me wonder, like, I am very passionate about linguistics and Spanish and languages in general. I've known that for the past 8 years of my life. Now that's why I pursued degrees in it. But it's like sometimes I wonder, like, is my degree useless? Because I feel like some people would argue that my linguistics degree is as useless as an English degree, but I don't really know anything about English as a major. So it's like I don't think I can say if it's useless or not. But even so, when people say that linguistics, like what do you do with that or what can you even do with that? It doesn't sound like you can do much. Linguists are valuable, but there are a lot of things you can do with a linguistics degree. I don't know, it's like you have to further your education or be really lucky or I don't know. So, it's like I've found things that say, "Oh, have a degree in this or that or something related," but I don't know. This is a whole rambling mess. It's just I'm trying to find something to gain experience. I already have a job, but they're cutting my fucking hours, so that's great. Trying to find something to put on my resume or that's temporary, that's remote. Maybe it's not remote. Find an internship, whether it's paid or unpaid. I don't give a shit. I'm trying to find something. But it's like so hard, and I've just kind of reconsidered too, like, should I redirect what I'm doing with my degrees? Should I go into interpretation, which is going to require me to train my ears so much better than what they are now? Or do I redirect myself to my secondary option of teaching English as a second language or teaching English as a foreign language, whether it's online or abroad or whatever? I don't know, but I'm questioning a lot, but I'm doing the best that I can. And as I am finishing and doing this CV, that's just something that I wanted to talk about. So, are you in college? Are you in school or doing a trade or whatever like that? Have you also questioned if your degree is useless or useful? How has it been trying to find something in the job market with your education? But yeah, that's it for this video. I'm out of fucking breath. And until the next one, whatever I fucking talk about.